Hey, and we're back. Welcome to another episode of And in this Corner, coming out the white corner. My name is Bill, ready to fight.
Hey, my name is Barry, coming out the black corner, and I'm ready to fight.
All right, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
Welcome to And in this Corner, where we settle the score once and for all, and that includes who's the best. Best movies, best music, best shows, best anything. This week, what are we talking about, Bill?
Hey, we have a big game coming up next week, and during that big game, they have halftime shows. So today we're going to talk about the big game halftime shows of the past, the present, and in the future.
All right, without any further ado, let's kick it off with our past. I guess let's just jump to it. Try to stay in ascending order if you just try, I guess.
Mhm.
What's your first memorable halftime performance when it comes to the big game?
1993 Michael Jackson.
I feel like we're gonna mirror each other on this, and if I believe correctly, I haven't fact checked, but when you actually go through their history, the NFL was not promoting halftime performances like that.
No,
It was a lot of guest appearances,
couple bands.
exactly
I think
bands and things of
think
that
it's
nature.
Grambling, I believe, a Southern, one of the two, couple
Oh,
bands.
a couple. Like if you go through the early '90s, '80s, it's featuring a different band every year. In the
Hmm.
previous year, I think they had like maybe they had
New
new kids
Kids on
on
the
the
Block.
block.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think what triggered it, and I'm not, I would have to fact check, but you're nodding your head because you heard this as well. I
Hmm.
know in Living Color,
And Live in
they
Color.
they did a kind of a
Halftime.
condensed, yeah, during
Yep.
the halftime. They said, hey, new episode, and everybody rushed over to Fox to go check out, some the variety show. And
Yep.
that was a juggernaut ratings monster. And I think the NFL started scratching their chin like, hey, we should kind of capitalize on this moment
Yeah.
and make sure everybody's staying glued to our channel. And after that, they brought in the king of pop.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've heard. Bill nodded his head, so it must be true.
I heard it.
Yeah.
I,
So
I can't say it's to be true, but I
mhm.
did hear that. However, I do remember because obviously I'm older. I remember the lead up to that episode to the show.
Yeah,
I remember it, and then I watched the In Living Color episode, the special, and of course, the funniest one to me was Men on Film. and,
and I watched it live at this
yeah,
when
I
I was
watched it
that
live.
age. I wasn't really into the NFL, so
Hmm.
I didn't even know MJ was performing until a couple days after, and then a lot of like that's before TiVo, that's before streaming. So you basically had to go beg a classmate who recorded it on VHS.
Hmm.
So, in regards to the performance, what do you remember about the performance?
I believe this was 1993. I do want to say that.
Mhm.
So Michael should have dropped his Dangerous album, which was in 92. So I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I do
I mean,
believe it.
the songs that he performed on his medley are from the
The
Dangerous
Dane,
album. So
so you're talking about obviously the biggest song that was, certain at that time was Black or White.
he
So
performed
if he
that third.
performed, so you got that. Um, is that it's called the Nature Song or just one of those
Yeah,
songs where
well
it's
he performed to Heal the World.
heal. Okay, so it's one of
Yeah,
those Heal the Worlds, Man in the Mirror. He typically once the bad album hit, he typically put a conscious song on his albums. And I'm not mistaken, one of the ones, like you said, he performed Heal the World um, for the big game. And the good thing about it was at that time, you had to have that big artist because of what In Living Color did. You had to have the biggest artist, a big artist. Who's the biggest artist at the time?
he stole the show, man.
None other than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and I think this is when this rendition of the halftime show took effect once again.
Hmm.
To use MJ as your send off, I think was great. I just remember him standing for the 2 minutes And I think I'm not like, I just remember watching old documentaries. They used to be a pretty huge tax to perform during this game. So it's just
Mhm.
like how the commercials are expensive. If you were an artist, I don't know if they still do that, but they were taxing you. So every minute that you were on stage, it was $1. It's more, it's a heavy dollar. And for him to stand and do absolutely nothing for about 2 minutes, that was memorable. I just remember the
Mhm.
pose. And also the songs that he played, Billie Jean, Jam, Billie Jean, Black or White, We Are the World, Heal the World. Now, when you're talking about his greatest hits, he's not necessarily knocking out huge bangers, but it's just MJ's stage presence alone is going to be able to kind of get the crowd jumping. Next to Billie Jean performance on Motown 25, this is the one I would consider like an iconic MJ performance. That's just my opinion. I just know whenever you're trying to point at, hey, this is a game changer type performance, I do include this one. This may be the second most influential. It kind of paved the way for what we
Mhm.
consider a halftime performance. So great. The first, and once again, it's definitely a top 10 in my book.
Yeah,
So
and the funny thing that you said about the pain they had to pay, if I'm Michael Jackson
mhm,
at that time in 1993, if I'm Michael Jackson and you say, "Hey, we want you to perform, but you have to pay,"
mhm.
who's going to pay? The Super Bowl, the big game does nothing for me.
Yeah,
If I'm Michael Jackson, the big
yeah.
game does absolutely nothing for me. I'm probably bigger than the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody remembers the score. I don't think I don't remember the team who played that year. So I
93 would have been probably Buffalo.
yeah.
It,
So
matter of
it's
fact, I'm sure it's Buffalo. They
yeah,
went
so it's it's
four
it's one of
times.
those
So
Buffalo L's, but MJ stole the show.
yeah.
And yeah. I,
So I'm not
and
paying.
all right, what
I'm not paying.
what what do you have up next following MJ?
2007
All right.
Prince.
All right, since you're going 2007, let me kind of cut and I'm going 2004 ahead of you.
Okay.
So that way
Mhm.
we keep it in timeline order. I don't think we have a meaningful halftime performance until 2004. You say 2007. Ironically, they chose the King of Pop's sister to follow up his legendary performance. The infamous wardrobe malfunction. A lot of things kind of trickle down from this. I don't think we have a YouTube if this doesn't happen, because basically that's how YouTube basically got its viral start. Everybody went to YouTube to look up what was happening with the wardrobe malfunction. Was it planned? Was it accident? When I saw it, I definitely thought it was planned, but their reactions years later, I'm like, oh, that really was a mistake. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Janet Jackson, P. Diddy, Nelly, Kid Rock, Justin Timberlake, Jessica Simpson. When you it's a variety of artists. A lot of them fell into the genre that I liked. So I just remember we had a long drought. So 2004, it was kind of like a moment to be like, yes, we have some songs that I know during halftime. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
highlight 2004. And if you got anything to say about that, say it. And if not, we'll move on to 2007.
Again, I just remember watching that halftime performance, and
Mm.
they call it Nipplegate.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones where you feel sorry for Janet
hmm
because you're talking about a world. We know it's a heavily broadcasted show
Yeah.
worldwide, whatever,
hmm
and now this happens, and it
Yeah.
happens to you.
And you,
So I
you
felt I felt sorry for her.
yeah, and you factor in the rewatches because not only you got
Hmm.
millions of eyeballs on you the night of, but then after the fact.
Yeah.
I thought it was fake until I saw her reaction. Once again, you feel the sympathy, and I'm like, oh wow, and she's still kind of mentally stuck by it, hurt by it even
Hmm.
today.
And it
But
seems as if she took more brunt of the hit than
then the guy
Justin
who pulled
did.
the
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what's going on
I
here?
mean,
But
they the fact that we have to go all the way to 2007, they stayed away from pop acts because of this. They stayed away from black acts, I think, because of this. They didn't want another Nipplegate on their hands. So not only did she suffer, but I think the fans suffered as well. Like we got a lot of YouTube
mhm.
after this. But then 2007, they cleaned up their act. and we got Prince. You mentioned it. I'm gonna push and agree. That's one of my memorable performances. What do you remember about 2007?
I remember one, FAMU played with Prince.
Shout out to the
That's
Marching 100.
Marching 100. For those who don't know what FAMU is a historical black college university, HBCU, and they are world renowned, not
Yep.
just known. They are world renowned for their band, the Marching 100,
Mm-hmm.
and for them to perform with Prince during the halftime show of the biggest watch game in America. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why I
So
doubt when you say for those of you who don't know, I doubt there's a lot of people who don't know
there's
March. They probably don't recognize them by
not
Marching
not of
100.
our culture. I'll
Yeah.
say that. Not of our culture.
Yeah, I think that
Some, yeah.
they were already, and we're from Florida, but they were already on the map. I think that sent them out the stratosphere. A lot of key moments in this performance. Prince plays a medley of his greatest hits. It literally rains
It rained,
during
purple
Purple
rain,
Rain,
purple rain. That's what
and
did it.
you
That's it.
cannot script anything more magical than that. Off of that moment alone, I think this may be the best. I just think this is the best musicianship for sure. And this is like
Okay.
if you're
Okay. Yeah.
also if you're trying to like highlight how to do a halftime performance, you know what I mean? It is this. I do think this is kind of like a go-to on your list of things to watch. So it's like the blueprint. I love the performance. I do feel like this is probably Prince's most iconic performance in his career. Just my opinion. And yeah, I definitely feel like this is one of the highlights from the big game.
I would say this is definitely the most known
Yeah.
performance by Prince. Definitely the most known performance by Prince.
Mhm.
Um, as you stated, it rained during Purple Rain. It couldn't happen any better than that.
And by the way, when it comes to the halftime performances, you're watching a game. Just for me, I like to hear upbeat music. Like, do not slow it down. I'm trying to get
Mhm.
hyped for the second half. So he did
Yes.
everything you're not supposed to do, and I was glued to my seat because when we knew Prince was playing, I was expecting him to bring out some of the heavy, hardcore up tempo songs, and he didn't, and I was not dissatisfied or disinterested. I was like, he picked. Prince did his thing. He had the right song selection and he did his thing. And with the rain added to it, it's just certain people they willed magic. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like I
Yeah.
was like, how do they make it rain on cue? I thought it was fake. And I'm like, it gotta be fake. The rain is purple because they had the lights making it purple. And,
Mm.
and then when they show the aerial view, and I'm like, oh, it's really raining. How did they time that perfectly? They must have looked at the weather forecast. Nope, just pure coincidence.
Just happened.
Yep.
Just happened. Um, Again, when you think about Prince and his catalog, which his catalog is very extensive.
Yep.
Um, he didn't do When Doves Cry.
Nope.
That is one of his biggest biggest songs
I
of all
think
time.
I think that's just Prince's nature too. He's going to give you what you need. He's not giving you what you want. He's like, nah, bro, sit back. I got you.
Prince probably would make me Prince would probably do in a verses what Bobby Brown did in a verses.
And it would work
But
for him though. It would work. He plays his favorite songs almost, right? It's like he doesn't play what you expect.
he's gonna play, he's gonna think about the musicianship
Yep,
of
yep,
it and all that.
yep.
So yeah. So yeah, that was I'm gonna assume that was your third.
Yeah, that was my third.
Okay. I'll go ahead and say 2022 was really dope as well.
Oh, so you're jumping to
Um
2022?
yeah, I'll jump to 2022.
I got some in
Um
between yours, but we'll talk 2022 first, and then I'll go back.
yeah.
I got 3 years that you jumped over.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
go.
I got a few in between as well,
Okay.
but for me, when I think about being in California, the it's crazy, which is kind of crazy to me that when you're talking about artists, Snoop is literally like world renowned.
Mhm.
We're talking about a known gang member,
Yep.
a known
They were sea walking that.
marijuana smoker.
Yeah, they
He's
were.
he's everything that is he what he is what he should is which should limit him to what he is now.
Yeah.
Snoop is literally he can go in any room, and it
Yep.
doesn't matter.
And
So
not,
I think to get the biggest artists, one of you get Jay Z. Well, Jay Z is a part of it. Now you got Dr. Dre, you got Snoop. Um,
who was the headliner for that show? It was
I,
Dr. Dre and
it's Dr.
Friends, right?
Dre.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Dre in France. So Dr. Dre is the head.
Yeah, you
I'm
got
just only
Interscope and
saying,
Aftermath. You
yeah.
got 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop, everything that came under that catalog. And I think
They were only missing the game. Kendrick Lamar was there. Mary
yeah.
J was
I
there.
was gonna all right, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. And here's the thing, Bill. This is the last time I probably traveled during the big game. I typically invite folks over to my crib, but I chose to visit some homies in 2022. And for that reason, I missed a lot of the game, and I also missed the halftime spectacle. I came in mid third quarter. I caught most of the highlights, but I do think with the halftime performances, just a word of advice, you probably have to watch it live to really understand like the magic behind it. Otherwise, it's probably going to be lost. So, with that being said, I do recognize it as one of the best halftime performances, but to be totally honest, that's one that I didn't get to watch live. I just was watching
Got
clips
you.
as they rolled in.
Got you.
I'm going to pivot and I'm going to jump a couple of years earlier. Once again, we had been spoiled for a while because the NFL had just been so cautious when it came to the censors, shutting them down for anything that could be seen negative in front of live viewers. So whenever we got artists that we love, I feel like I want to count those years. In 2013, Beyonce's first appearance, Destiny's Child made a guest appearance. The track list that she played, Run the World, Love on Top, Crazy in Love, End of Time, Baby Boy, Bootylicious, Independent Woman, Single Ladies, and Halo.
Hello.
Yeah, I just felt like, okay, you know what? This is kind of what they need to go back to, putting superstars back in the mix, because a lot of times they were putting folks who were probably in the top 40, but I wouldn't consider them superstars. Or they used to be superstars, but then they were coming out with like greatest hits albums at the time. But when they got Beyonce, I was like, okay, you know what? And number one, she's a performer. Like, you're actually putting on a great show. So I'm going to highlight 2013. Anything you want to say from that performance?
All
All
her
right.
big songs. Was that the one where it was more Black Power?
Here's the thing. That would have been the next year. So she was featured in 2013. In 2014, they no 2016. You know what? That's
She
the
should.
one where they did Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars, and they did a medley of all three. And that's when she did
Okay.
the formation. So she wasn't the
Yeah,
feature in
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And it
No,
was
I'm just
like
saying. I know one
Beyonce
she
and
did.
Friends,
Yeah,
but I feel like that may be her most memorable big game performance. Uptown Funk formation performances was what I like. That's kind of when the year prior, I also want to highlight. So 2013, 2016, I just highlighted, and then 2014, Bruno Mars. That's when I kind of first started realizing, oh, Bruno Mars may be kind of a big superstar. Like, I
yeah.
didn't know this much people knew his music. But yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers is the guest. He did Billionaire, Locked Out of Heaven, Treasure, uh, Runaway Baby, Give It Away, which is Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Just the Way You Are. I felt like that was a solid performance. Wasn't just, and that's some of that is being a prisoner of to his peers, where there were a lot of weak performances years prior. But for sure, I like the 2016 formation with Beyonce. That, yeah, and then after that, I probably got one more until we move to the present.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll highlight it. I'm putting Justin Timberlake on there. I feel like he has a nice catalog. I know a lot of people had a sour taste in their mouth about the Prince, him honoring Prince, because by the way, Prince don't get along with nobody. So nah, he's like, hey, don't play my music. So if you ever want to respect him, do not play his tracks without his permission. And the
If
fact
he
that he
doesn't,
was gone,
yeah, if he didn't sign off
yeah,
on
he
it, leave it
Prince
alone.
wasn't signing off stuff when he was alive, so I get it. However, Justin does have a strong catalog. Just a couple of the songs he played: "Filthy," "Rock Your Body," "Senorita," "Sexy Back," "My Love," "Cry Me a River," "Suit and Tie," "Until the End of Time," "I Would Die for You" tribute, "Mirrors," "Can't Stop the Feeling." A solid catalog, and I was like, all right, this is decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I guess that leads us up to the big halftime performance that's coming up
I'm
next week.
sorry. One more.
Oh, you got one
Shout out to
more?
Rihanna. She did that while she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah, Riri. Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to Riri.
if you ever need to perform while you're pregnant, that would be the way to do it. But she has a lot of hits, and she didn't even play all of them. And I felt like she ran off 20 tracks. So the fact that she wasn't in a verses kind of pisses me off. But she has hits for
Yeah.
days. So
Oh,
2023
yeah,
was
yeah,
nice also. But
yeah.
to the present, you were saying?
2024, we have Usher Raymond,
Hmm.
who is going to perform at this year's halftime. Um, it's a good choice, I think. If you think about it, if you look at a black artist, if that's what we're going to say, a black artist, there are a couple of other people who could have as well. But if we're looking at Usher, I think this solidifies his statue amongst everyone else, right? If you look at the Michaels, because Usher's now being called, the GOAT or the king of R&B, the GOAT of R&B or whatever. But when you look at somebody like that, and he's had a great Las Vegas residency. A
Hmm.
great, I mean, great. A lot of content has come from that. Him going up to the different ladies and singing to them and the guys there and so forth. But for me, his this is it. This is that performance that the world is going to stop and watch. Everybody
This
can't make it to LA, I mean to Las Vegas and any other shows that he has, but millions of eyes are going to be watching this performance.
Yeah, this man has survived the 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, the
Now
20s.
the 20s.
He's been a relevant name in 4 decades, right? So I do believe he understands the moment. I'm projecting for this to be possibly the most memorable halftime performance of all time. Like just because Usher is a showman, like he's going.
The
I don't
most
know what's.
memorable?
I'm projecting that, bro. And to be real with you, prior to last year, prior to the last 2 years, that ain't been hard to do. Only because the NFL has been tame. They always give out a list of rules of do's and do nots. I think they're away from that now. With Jay-Z being involved, I think he's like, hey, let the artist be the artist. I think our first version of seeing that would be with the California halftime performance where they had people sea walking. I think he's gonna bring in a lot of cultural relevant stuff. And then Usher is kind of like a meme god. Like a lot of stuff that he does naturally ends up being a meme. So what I mean by that, there's just going to be a lot of highlights. Like you could point to something. When I mentioned Beyonce, you was like, was that the Black Power thing? When we talked about MJ, was that the like? Remember when he froze? Like he froze for like 2 minutes. He's going to have like 4 of those moments in his show. That's what I mean. It's going to have like a lot of iconic
Maybe.
moments. And
It may.
I'm not going to try to guess his track list because the fact that he's been in music this long, he could go left or right. Usher.
I I can assume
Mhm.
he's going to do yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he might finish
He's
off with
definitely
because
doing
I
that.
think he closes with that in Vegas, but
He's definitely going to do that because
yeah,
that's just
that's
the
the only
song's
one
just
I
too
know for
big.
sure.
I
That's
think
the
he's
only one.
going to do the either Oh My God or DJ Got Us Falling in Love because it's one of those house techno that a
Mhm.
lot of our artists started to do. Because remember, it's not it's not a performance just for,
It's for
I want to say it
everybody.
like this, it's not just for us.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
This is for everybody. So
Yeah, and
he
that's
has to pull in the songs that's for everybody. So I could see him doing, definitely gonna do, yeah. I could see him doing
that's the only one I know for a fact.
oh, like Oh My God or DJ God is Falling in Love. I definitely see him doing one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, will he bring out Alicia Keys and do My Boo? Who knows? I think he may do
You bring up a point. I want to go back to that after you're done. Go ahead.
um the song. It's off of 8701. I always forget the
You
name of
remind
it.
me?
No, the song he got when they were uh in the Cadillac truck.
Oh, you don't have to call.
You don't have to call because
Yeah,
it's a dance. It's dance.
yeah,
It's upbeat. He can move. Yeah, so I could see him doing that one as well. But he's
yeah.
definitely doing. Yeah.
Speaking of that, who is he bringing out?
Who does he bring out?
That's the
Sheesh.
thing. When you talk about Usher and friends, he has a lot of friends.
If
He might throw
you know
curveballs
what
like
I would throw if I'm Usher, I'd bring Chris Brown out.
I would do something like that's what I'm
I would bring
saying.
Chris Brown out.
Honestly, he doesn't have to play like because Usher used to do this thing at his shows where he would like pay homage to like Bobby Brown, where he would dress up in the ensemble and sing Bobby Brown records. He could do that with other artists he's cool with. Does he bring a LA Reid in a baby face and sing like a Two Occasions or something like that? I'm just
No.
spitballing, but I'm saying he could do that. Like I agree with the Chris Brown thing. You know what? I doubt that because Jay-Z's the one that's kind of pulling the trigger on getting him the platform. And I don't know if they've actually patched up that relationship with Jay-Z and Chris Brown. That would be
Well,
nice. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, but I could see him if I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
big picture. Chris Brown is he's gonna give you what halftime performances are supposed to give you. Dancing, the moving, the songs. Maybe he just does a medley or something or whatever. Um,
It's gonna be a show. That's all I know.
it's gonna be a show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it'll
he's
be a
not. He
show.
don't have time to play all his music. That's crazy. That's a good problem to have.
No artist can.
Yeah.
So he falls right in line with the other artists that
Yep.
have all the music. So
And
yep.
I do think Usher kind of opens up the floodgate for artists that they should be targeting. So I just feel like some of this is okay. Not that this is long overdue, but he's kind of deserved a
I think
halftime.
T-Pain.
Yeah,
I could see
I
T-Pain
mean
coming
for sure,
in.
because yeah, you're gonna see Ludacris there. You're gonna see Lil Jon there. You're gonna see a lot of love from
Jermaine
Atlanta.
Dupri.
Yeah, Jermaine Dupri for sure. I'm
I
trying to
could
think.
I could see T-Pain being there because T-Pain has songs that are just world renowned.
Mm.
They are known.
All right, so now we're jumping into who got next. Uh
Mm. Who
outside
got
of
next?
yeah, who got so you're saying he has songs that are world renowned.
I
Who else?
mean, no, to come with Usher.
I know yeah, I know
Now
I'm
to
trade
rock to be the headliner.
headliner. Who do
Okay, so we're
you
gonna headliner.
yeah, who do you think with some of the
Hmm.
names that we're bringing up, I think it puts a spotlight not just on R&B but just artists who probably have been
Yeah.
overlooked in the past. Who do you think has next? Like I like
I'm going by cultural impact. I'm just
go
going
ahead.
by impact.
Yeah, I think
Drake.
one Drake.
Drake.
I'm surprised that wasn't even kicked around earlier, bro, to be real
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
even
can.
have that on my list and I'm tripping. I don't know if it's just disinterest from him, but what I looked at is I looked at where they hosting the Super Bowl for the next 3 years. 2025 is New Orleans. I think you have to put Wayne on there. If you put Wayne on there, he brings a Drake out on stage, and that probably puts Drake out for that next year after. But if we're talking Drake, I definitely agree that's a pick. That's a strong pick. It's a no-brainer. I would like to kind of like preview that year before Drake with the guy who kind of put him on the map, which would be Wayne as well. I think he has a strong enough catalog. to host to headline it, but he would need some friends in there as well.
Yeah.
When you factor in music that for every crowd.
Yeah.
I like the Drake pick. Anything else?
Yeah. I could see them bringing Bruno Mars back. Him and
Yeah,
Anderson
see,
Paak.
they could, but also he's been featured twice. I think he needs to let somebody outshine, but they could.
But again, we're talking about
He's had hits since then too.
that's what I'm saying. So I got to think
I feel
about
you.
the big hits.
Yeah.
Um,
I would like Snoop to headline one because the 2026 is in Cali and 2027 is in Inglewood. The fact that you had Snoop come on as a friend, maybe you have him headline one, and then I think
I
the
could
Ingle.
see. I'm trying to think.
Give me another.
Katy Perry's already gone.
Yeah, she
I
done
mean
went.
Taylor Swift, but
Yeah,
I believe she's
she
turned them
hasn't.
down. But she's
Okay.
turned them down. She's turned them
She
down.
might change her mind now that she's kind of like a friend to the NFL now.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about just big songs,
Yeah.
big, somebody like that. Um, you might have to go I mean, and I don't know the genre, those artists as much. Maybe like a Carrie Underwood. Um, get you some country in
Mm.
there. She's big
Eventually
enough,
they
definitely big enough.
yeah, they are gonna have to start mixing it just because the NFL, the eyeballs on the NFL are very diverse. So
Hmm.
you want to have a group of artists that's going to make everybody entertain. I just remember the years that they were doing YouTube, I felt left out. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want fans feeling like that. But when you
I
start,
can, yeah. I can
but
also see them doing like if it's in a Texas or if it's especially in uh like a Tennessee, North Carolina, like somewhere in that area. I could see them bringing out a Chris Stapleton somewhere.
mm,
He has the big Tennessee whiskey, so that's
yeah,
major.
they look like they're bringing like really the big markets is where they're trying to go. So
Yeah.
when you start, I like your Drake pick. I'm trying to think of another artist that's on par. Like you mentioned the Taylor Swifts of the world, like your mega superstars.
Yeah, they're gonna want the mega
Oh,
superstars to
you know what
headline.
they coming soon with the what's that genre called, man? I want to be respectful. Like the DJ Bunnies, the Bad
Oh, Bad
Bunnies.
Bunny, Bad Bunny.
What's that genre called?
Um,
That's coming soon, by the way.
yeah, you talking about like the Bad Bunnies and
Yeah, like
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can see them. Yeah, I mean he's big. He's big. He's a big artist.
I think
But
after
but the funny thing about it, if you think about it, when the Super Bowl, when the big game was in Miami, when the big game was in Miami, they didn't have any Miami artists perform.
yeah, I think they tightened up because of that though. Like they was tripping. Like I really California is how like how California did it. That's how you should do it going forward. If you're in their hometown, you have to show them love. And I think we had it must have been
Where
like
was it last year?
last year would have been, I don't know.
Rihanna. That's
That was
Rihanna.
Rihanna, but I obviously she was born in Barbados, so
Yeah, so I don't think they're doing that. I just think they're getting whoever's the biggest artist
I think
or whoever says yes.
yeah. It depends on where they land. If they land on they land on a city that's known for its music, because I think there was like a national title game recently where they just had Atlanta and they showed love to the Atlanta folks. But if
It
they
was
land on
in Arizona last
okay,
year.
yeah, Arizona, I don't know nobody from Arizona
Yeah,
like that
even when it was here in 2001,
in Tampa.
it was the weekend.
Yeah, that didn't make no sense
So
to
that's
me.
not Florida. So they're not. I think matter of fact, okay, so in 2020, Shakira and Jennifer Lopez headline. You know who they brought out?
Cool.
Bad Bunny.
Okay, so he already went.
Yep.
I mean, but when you're bought
J
out, it
Balvin.
conditions you to
Yeah.
to get your shot in the future. I'm just looking up artists. And I'm thinking, well, Taylor Swift, Drake, uh, yeah, Rihanna already went, Bad Bunny. Yeah, see, some of these,
It's the
I
same
feel
ones, like the Beyonces,
in
the
some
same ones.
in some version they need to bring out these people, whether they be collective. I don't know if they could headline it, but your Ed Sheerans of the world, your Ariana Grandes. I'm just thinking, I'm looking up people with like monster hits and nice catalogs, the Nicki Minaj's of the world, like maybe not to headline, but as a
As a
group.
friend, as a
Yeah,
special
yeah, yeah,
guest.
yeah, yeah.
For the most
So
part, a lot have special guests. So
yeah,
we'll
and just
see.
with the names that we mentioned, we're bound to be right on some of these, just because some of
Yeah.
these are like mega artists. So it's
Yes.
just a matter of like who do we want to see, and hopefully
Absolutely.
Jay-Z and those guys could deliver.
Yep.
High anticipations, not just for the
This
commercials and possible movie trailers,
yeah, this
but
big game. This big game.
once again, I'm projecting this to be one for the ages. For that halftime performance, I really feel like he's going to come with it. I just remember Usher has built a track record of doing too much. Like I know sometimes a lot of artists would mail it in for BET Awards. And when he was on stage, I just know I was never disappointed. And he would always come with a creative angle. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure with folks in his ear, LA Reid's, the babyface, he's going to recognize the moment, and he's in the lab planning the right medley of songs, but also the visuals are going to be on point, the movements are going to be on point. So I'm going to be glued to my set waiting on that moment.
Yeah.
So hey Bill, we mentioned folks that we liked in the past, folks that we can't wait to see next week,
Hmm.
and also folks that we hope to see in the future. But these are our opinions, and obviously we probably left some artists on the table, but no worries. We're going to have some of our folks chime in. What is the best way for them to do that?
Hey, you guys know what to do. Go to our comment section and we call it My 2 cents and leave your 2 cents. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Who were your top performers in the past? What do you guys think about Usher's performance? And who would you like to see in the future?
That is awesome. Hey, and then what's another way they can show support, Bill?
Hey, like this video. Make sure you leave that comment. Subscribe to our channel. Again, subscribe to our channel. And hit that notification bell so that when we release any new content, you're instantly notified. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, and we have obviously our YouTube. So give us a follow. Be on the
All
screen.
of that is on the screen. This concludes our episode of the best big game halftime performances. Thank you for tuning in to And in This One.